Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha and suspended candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC has petitioned the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, saying the body has no right to withhold his certificate of return. I still have with me in the studio Alistair Wilkers, political analyst. Thank you for staying with us. And of course, Olawole Shako, legal practitioner. Always a pleasure to know you with us. Okay. He has petitioned INEC. He wants them to give him his certificate of return. I'll start with you. He says there is no legal, they are faulting for not giving him his certificate of return.
For the issue of Governor Rochas Okorocha's his predicament, let me put it that way. I actually think he's going to court is actually a welcome development, because as much as I appreciate the initiative INEC has taken, saying that this thing was obtained under duress, so for that reason, they're withholding that certificate. But I think this situation where everybody, in law, there is no vacuum. You understand? The situation where, okay, we've taken, we've withheld the certificate, and that's that. Nothing is going on. The assembly will be, the president will be sworn in May 29. The assembly should be inaugurated by June 8th or so. Between now and then, we have barely a month. You understand? We can't, Imo West needs to be represented. You understand? So you can't just hold on, ad limin and say, we're holding on, it was held under duress. Go to a court. If INEC had gone to a court and said, this thing was obtained under duress, declare this seat vacant, and let's call for a fresh election, that would have been a welcome idea. So for nobody who is, whose certificate of return, quote unquote, was withheld, will just sit back and just be looking at you.
But
he has to fight.
INEC is the body that has the power to declare winners and say this election was not properly
they have done what they should have done by withholding that certificate, because they claim it was obtained under duress. That's what I'm saying. You understand? Either party could have done this, but what I don't support is holding on to that certificate and not taking a follow-up action. That's the problem I have. So INEC could have gone and said, okay, we have an imbroglio here. We need judicial interpretation. What can we do in this point? In our eyes, there is no winner for this election. Do we declare the runner-up as having won the election because it was a situation of certificate the victor being declared under duress? Do we hold on? Do we declare the runner-up? Do we call for a run-up?
What does the law say about, when somebody says, I pronounce this result under duress after the act itself? Is there a provision, or there is
the law is pretty the law is pretty weak on that. You understand? There's really no strong position, in my opinion. Most of all these laws, like the doctrine of necessity, at that point there was a problem, and the court and someone had to rise to create a law, you understand, to accommodate that situation. So this was a situation that was not really envisaged, you understand, because it's deemed that INEC would declare the winner, the person who was validly returned as winner of an election, you understand, but we didn't probably envisage a situation where somebody was declared under duress.
Okay, I will come back to the question about what your thoughts are as to his chances, but let me bring in Wilkers to this conversation. He is still under suspension by his party, and then there is an elders forum in Imo State, APC elders forum, that has come out to say that the certificate should not be given to him because of the INEC's officers' comments that he pronounced the result under duress. What are his chances, in your opinion, if he does not have the support of his party, who it seems they're not even pushing, they're not saying anything?
No, you see, I think Rochas' case is more personal than legal. If APC in Imo State will come up and say they should not give him a certificate, that means that's telling you that there are people who are pressing the button behind in order to sink Rochas completely. So there is more a personal thing than a legal situation. But like my brother just said, a return officer came on air, announced the results, and said, I was made to announce the result under duress. That was all he said. Duress by who? In what form? How? Now, INEC said they're going to investigate. since February 23. This is May 2nd. How many days has elapsed? An election was done in Rivers State on February when, and then Rivers State was said it was suspended for investigation because there were disruptions. They have since resolved that. That's a whole state.
Okay, that's a whole state.
A whole state. They've resolved the issue. They've gone back to Rivers State, announced the results, and then declared a winner. Yeah. Now, what is difficult in Imo West Senatorial District for that within this period, INEC has not investigated what they claim they want to investigate with respect to the durex upon which the return officer stated that it was under durex. In what form of durex? Was it a gun? Was it a knife? Was it a whatever?
So let me ask the INEC's reaction to Okorocha going to the court now. They're saying since he has gone to court, they don't have any comment to make that he should wait for the pronouncement of the court. How do you react? Is that the reaction that the umpire should be taking?
No, I think that's what I said. There are more personal vendetta than the legalistic aspect.
Do you agree?
You can see that even in that matter, 2 judges have withdrawn from the case.
Yeah, and
2 judges.
And they've requested...
No, but do you agree, because you've repeated this, do you agree that there's a personal vendetta against an umpire, for that matter, is having a personal issue with Okorocha, and for that reason they are holding...
Well, the posturing of the All Progressives Congress leaves me with that impression. You understand that maybe... I may agree cautiously, or with caution.
You're now being a lawyer.
Because I'm a lawyer, but like I've said, INEC really cannot continue to assume that they can do things haphazardly. Exactly. You understand? That's why the Electoral Act, which the president has withheld assent to, the passage of that would have greatly helped this process. You get? Because what that act seeks to have done is to ensure that, as much as possible, post-election litigation are resolved, you understand, within a period, within a time frame, you understand, so that issues like this will not be hanging. But the situation where we're less than a month to the inauguration of that assembly, Imo West is still hanging in the balance.
Okay, since we're talking sentiment now, let's talk about the anti-Okorocha behavior across board at some point. There were very and some of the gigantic projects that he had, and just recently he took on his predecessors. He took on Hakim, he took on Achiku Denwa, and said he was the worst governor of Imo State. Now that's mudslinging. You both seem to be in agreement that there seem to be, behind the scene working against Okorocha. Have you also thought maybe that the people of the state the people of his constituency may not have voted at this man for him? He's the only case, I think, in this country, correct me if I'm wrong, that a returning officer had to come out to say he was. So isn't that something for us to think about? He's not the only politician that is having problem with his party.
It depends on where the pendulum wants to swing. The person of Okorocha, if I like I said, let's talk about him. Okorocha shot himself on the foot and stepped on so many toes. Okorocha was loved by Imo people, and as at his first coming, that's why he won a re-election, and give APC a face in the southeast. He shot himself on the foot with his over-ambition of planting somebody to succeed him, even against every reasoning and rationality. He went ahead he felt he has Imo in his pocket, and that is one terrible feelings of politicians.
Well, that has been completely disabused in this 2019 election.
They felt they have a hold, and so he felt his son-in-law must. And every entreaty, of course, he has very among himself will fall. And then again, he didn't only stop at Imo. He took up the leadership of his party, the APC, to the point of Okorocha will have done very well. You can't compare Okorocha to Hakim in terms of performance. Anybody who is comparing that is comparing day and light. Even to the first governor that served 8 years, Achiku Denwa. Achiku Denwa was only boastful of that he brought Mr. Biggs to.
It was a disaster.
It was a disaster. Hakim, he spent 4 years, yes, but you cannot point to anything that he did. Okorocha, yes.
His supporters might disagree with you.
Of course, let them go and point. I'm ready let's point it. You see, it's not a matter of say disagree with me. Let's point it.
It got better.
Yes, it got better with him. It got better with him. But again, Okorocha shot himself on the foot. I just feel he fell on the foot by what he did. He would have been a statesman. Like people like Bola Ahmed Tinubu and some other people, they should have been a statesman to even unearth somebody that is not related to you.
You know, my people say that the person that they want to set on fire goes and he pours fuel. That's the case of Rochas Okorocha. Clearly, Rochas Okorocha's travail, you understand, is they want to cut him down to size ahead of 2023 because they know that he probably has some inclinations. You understand? So they are. And he knows the posturing of his party. He knows what they are willing to do and not to do. You understand? And you now went and you now engaged in the Iberiberism.
Iberiberism, he was accused of other people.
You understand?
All right, let's go to other issues as still concerning Okorocha. We just celebrated May Day, and he came out to say that he was going to work with the governor-elect in the state to ensure that there is the 30,000 naira minimum wage is paid to workers. Now, we know the running battle between Okorocha and the workers of the state, and also considering the intricate relationship that he has with the party, the PDP, in the state. Do you actually see a scenario where the two will actually work together to ensure that the minimum wage is paid? Don't forget that the PDP, when they came in, alleged that he stole from the covers of the state's economy. So, I mean, what do we do with all this information?
Well, it's clear that at this point in time, anything that any governor, any outgoing governor says right now should be discounted. You know, it's clear that he just wants to give himself. He has been humbled by people of Imo State. You understand? So, if he lets him save face with what he's saying, I really don't see, and the PDP is very wary and suspicious of anything that Rochas Okorocha is offering them at this point in time. You know, so I really don't see them. I really don't see them working too closely. I don't see that plan, you know, except for if the PDP has decided, because I know in Kano, then their candidate said he was not going to pay. Or the godfather in Kano said PDP was not going to pay. So I don't know if PDP's position is to actually pay the new minimum wage. I know the governor-elect in Oyo State has said every state should be at liberty to determine what minimum wage they're going to pay. So if governor-elect Ihe Dioha decides that he's going to pay the minimum wage, all well and good. But working with Okorocha on that,
they don't have any. No governor has a choice.
Working with Okorocha,
working with Okorocha is out of it. They cannot. Out of it. Because already there's mixed blood, there's bad blood, there's suspicion.
He wouldn't even want to taint himself right now with associating with.
No, but the fact remains. You see, when we talk about things like this and we say two gladiators don't want to come together, let's not forget that it's not about them really. At the end of the day, it's the Nigerian.
No, but people, they have everything has been personalized. Everything has been personalized. Their interest. Everything has been personalized. Their interest. Right now, here they will be looking at the loopholes that Okorocha is creating.
Of course.
And I can assure you that Okorocha will pay that 30,000, even it because he's
before leaving office. He can sign it off.
He will pay it.
And just like before Oshomole exited, he made sure he created some problems for Fayemi, Governor Fayemi, and that is always what happens in this kind of situation.
Yes.
But so what's the way?
So after no any government that comes to it will not pay it. It's just playing with his life, with himself. How can you come and say you don't want to obey federal law? As the constitution is today, incomes and wages, I mean, it's not in the concurrent list, it's in the exclusive list, and only the national assembly list. And it's the law of national assembly. You can sue. Right now, you can sue anybody that does not want to pay. So there's even no choice. They can only make mouth it. I'm sure that those living governors, especially the APC that is handing over to the PDP, they will pay it. I'm sure he's going to pay with this month's salary because he will collect this month's application.
I'm also declared he was going to pay it.
Yeah, he will pay. So you cannot come in and say.
You're basically saying that they are working to create problems for.
That's always what happens.
I don't think it's really a problem. It is making sure that you won an election, right? Now this
you defeated my candidate.
This is what it is.
Okay, you're only foreseeing this for states that switched parties, right?
No, but even states that didn't switch parties.
No, in Ogun State, for instance, yes, APC to APC, but that was not his chosen candidate. You understand? So he will create problems for him. That's the precedent.
But for me, I don't think that's problem. You must pay that money because it is because it is the law.
Let's even go as far as, was it 2007 when the former governor of Osun State, that was Governor Bisi Akonde, when Governor Bisi, no, sorry, that was 2003, when he lost the election, or when he lost the election, he sacked teachers.
Yeah.
He sacked almost 30,000 teachers to create problems for his successor, who was Governor Olaguse. You understand? So imagine you're coming in and 30 people have lost their jobs.
But again, okay, look at even in Imo State, as at the time Ohakim lost the election, he signed in 10,000 new workers in Imo State.
Yeah. In Ekiti.
This man has to come and sack them.
Oshomole, sorry.
Fayose.
No. Fayose, yeah. He brought in, he was recruiting for about 14,000 new workers.
Okay, so, I mean, we know there's a lot of problems.
Yes.
What are his chances? Yeah, he seemed to have a lot working against him. Seeming little goodwill from the people, his party, the umpire is now saying, well, you've gone to court, let's see. Yeah. I'll ask you as a legal mind, what are his chances of winning this case and having INEC?
Well, the judiciary really should be the hope of the common man and the hope of the politician. You understand? We've seen so many governors that have emerged through decisions of the courts. So I would encourage him as a lawyer to pursue this line of action. Like I've said, INEC should have gone to court longer than now. This issue should have been resolved. People of Imo West don't deserve, you understand, not to have this issue resolved in good time. Because a constitutional crisis will definitely arise from this, you understand, and people suffer for it. So my own advice would really be, let Governor Rochas Okorocha proceed to the court. Let the court determine if they're going to declare that election as null and void and declare a fresh poll, all the better. But something has to be done. The courts have to wade into this matter.
Do you see him representing that?
I still see him present. I'm still optimistic that he will.
I think you said something along the line that is a cat with 9 lives.
Well, so he has proven to be. I see that he might still make it at the end of the day. Maybe this is just to shake him, because I do not know if INEC at any point has a right to withhold a certificate of anybody who has been so declared. Now, if there's an issue as to how the declaration, then there are the tribunals, not even INEC, not that show. That is not INEC is longer than the interested party. It is the contestants.
No, the reason why I even said INEC should have gone to court, not because they are quote and unquote interested parties per se, but you are there because you need the guidance of the court.
Exactly.
We have withheld this thing for so and so reasons. Can the court please tell us what should be the next line of action? You understand?
Exactly.
That should have been INEC's position. But for INEC not to do so,
anything.
It actually looks vindictive.
Yes.
You're just holding on to certificate.
Maybe they feel vindicated using the act that set up INEC.
But the act does not give them power to withhold after an announcement has been made.
You just agreed earlier on in this conversation that there doesn't seem to be any part
on this.
There is nothing.
It's like a novel.
That's the reason why the court should declare.
The court should have made a statement.
The very reason
they will have approached the court. Or now, Rochas has the court. So why are the judges all leaving? And then it is not a post-election matter.
Yes.
It's no longer a pre-election matter because a declaration has been made. And any post-election matter should be resolved by the tribunal. Exactly. So it is the contestants that even should feel like grief, not my INEC anymore. Because INEC is no longer. INEC is not injured in any way by Rochas having a certificate.
No, because let's even look at it now. The candidates, they've said they wouldn't return him because he was declared under duress.
Yes.
The logical line of action should be for the co-candidates.
Yes.
So obviously, if he was declared, which means somebody's victory was stolen. You understand? To be given to him or to declare him rightly or wrongly. So that person should have proceeded. Not all of them ganging up and saying that a particular judge should recuse himself from handling matters pertaining to, you understand, that particular.
So they just want to be vindictive, and because they don't have a chance to destroy destroy the
With this
man
mindset, then the man probably has won the case already.
No, I'm not from Imo.
I'm only just on the side of the law.
Yes, I'm only just seeing what is happening based on where I'm sitting. I'm not from Imo, and I don't even give a damn as to who represents Imo West or Imo East. But the fact is, as a Nigerian, what is happening is wrong.
Yeah.
INEC cannot withhold certificates
and even if they're going to do
perpetuity.
That, in perpetuity, that's the word.
In perpetuity.
Steps should be taken. At most, INEC should be mindful.
Why are you taking 1 week?
INEC should be mindful of timelines.
1 week.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. I mean, if we won't stop if we continue having this conversation.
It's interesting.
Very appreciative of your presence today. Alistair Wilcox, political analyst, and of course, legal practitioner, Olawale Shako. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a look at Plus Politics package, and after that, I will give my take. Do stay with us.
The chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, Professor Mohammed Issa, has said Nigeria has remained sluggish in almost every facet of national development, largely due to greed and unstoppable quest for materialism by most public officers. He said most of the officers feel the public office was a ready conduit where indiscipline and corruption flows, and thus made it become an acceptable norm that public office is a national cake, which occupants are privileged to have and share.
Public service is the foundation and the basis for the national development. Where there is a failure in national development, economic growth, then any form of insecurity and instability can arise. And today we are witnessing a lot of such insecurity, instability politically, and economic malpractices, which are termed as economic crimes. So this is a failure in the effective delivery in public service in Nigeria. The breakdown of law and order in Nigeria, triggered by official corrupt practices, has brought about socio-economic discontent, political instability, and was thus marked by widespread and long-standing violence over time and space. These trends were partly and directly results of corruption, communication breakdown, and collaborative gaps. Where a public officer is required to comply with due process in the procurement of goods, services, or contracts, and he failed to do so, the Bureau can come in.
In the course of preparing for the program today, I read a piece titled "Nigeria's National Kidnapping Crisis is Expanding," published on December 5th, 2018. The writer, John Campbell, submits that in some parts of the country, kidnapping has become a business, with whispers of involvement by politicians and the police, as well as entrepreneurs, in it simply for the money. This is really not news, as some of our analysts have spoken today, but it needs to be said again and again. In the past, the thought was that kidnappers usually focus their attention on the rich and famous, but now almost anybody who appears to have the most minimal of resources or access to resources can be a victim. Indeed, a demoralized psyche has the country in its grips. So rather than restrict efforts at tackling crime in Nigeria to rolling out the armored tanks and long press statements, moving of officials here and there, government at all levels must make concerted efforts to get more children into school, provide employment for the youths, and generally take care of the welfare of citizens. Nigeria must be more creative in its fight against crime and face the reality that no amount of force will discourage untutored minds and hungry stomach from inflicting harm on an uncaring society. That's all we can take tonight on Plus Politics. Please join us again tomorrow. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Thank you as always for watching.